Good Monday morning. This is the Great Basin Weekly Smoke Dispersion Briefing. A look at the latest water vapor imagery map shows a two-pronged low-pressure system, one low dropping down to northern California, another one waiting in its wings off the Pacific Northwest coast. Both systems will combine into a rather strong low-pressure system over the Great Basin during the course of the next few days. So with the approach of low pressure, our dispersion will be gradually improving this week. However, we start off with rather poor dispersion. This is this afternoon. This is the ventilation index, which combines both mixing heights and transport winds. The reddish to purplish colors, as you can see by the right-hand side of the screen on the legend, are relatively low values. The closer you get towards California and the approaching lows, you see that dispersion does improve a little bit. And if we look at both transport winds and mixing heights, both of which do make up our smoke dispersion product, you can see that on the right-hand side, overall mixing heights remain quite low across a good portion of the Great Basin, much better as you go towards the Sierra and points further west. Also, transport winds quite weak, given by those purplish and whitish colors across the Great Basin. Exceptions across the higher terrain. Better transport flow, again heading further west towards California. Now looking at tomorrow, Tuesday, we see that low pressure system on the left starting to intensify as it drops down into California. The area in green indicates where cloudy skies and especially the darker green where precipitation will be occurring. And looking off to the right, you see that our ventilation index is improving. Many more areas in that clear white area, which indicates good to excellent dispersion. Still lingering some low dispersion conditions across parts of northeastern Nevada into parts of northern Utah, but that will also be improving as the low approaches. Once we go over to the individual components on the left, look at the transport winds. Those purplish colors you see there are transport wind speeds in excess of 40 miles per hour. And on the right-hand side, the mixing heights, once you start seeing some of those yellows and oranges coming in, those are mixing heights that are about 3,000 to 5,000 feet above ground level. However, still some localized lower mixing heights further eastwards across the Great Basin. We go towards Wednesday and getting as good of a dispersion pattern as you can get with low pressure centered right across the Great Basin. There'll be precipitation with this, and especially in those darker green areas across northern Nevada, Utah, and southern Idaho. And given the coldness under the vicinity of the upper low, most of that will be in the form of light to moderate snowfall. On the right-hand side, notice that dispersion improves across the Great Basin significantly, lowering actually as you go further westwards towards California. So things should be definitely improving. We look at the individual components. Transport winds on the left, very strong winds shifting eastwards into Utah, far northern Arizona, into Wyoming. We see those gusts of over 40, and even further west across Nevada on the backside of the low. Still some of that darker green to orange. Those are transport wind speeds of anywhere from 15 to 30 miles per hour. On the right-hand side, pretty good mixing heights vertically as well in most areas, especially improving across Utah. And something we look at here specifically in Utah, developed locally, is the Utah Clearing Index, developed by the National Weather Service in Salt Lake City. On the left-hand side, the darker purplish colors indicate a lower overall dispersion. And as you can see, as we go through Tuesday and Wednesday, the dispersion conditions improve significantly. A lot of those areas in the yellow, orange, and reds indicating much better overall dispersion. If we look at the precipitation that is expected over this first 3-day period from Monday through Wednesday, you can see that a wide swath of the west and most of the Great Basin should be getting some light to locally moderate amounts of precipitation. Get anywhere from a few hundredths of an inch to perhaps a quarter to a half inch locally in some of the more prone higher elevation areas. That could indicate anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of snow across our higher terrain. And looking further down the road the rest of the week for this Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, we do see low pressure centered across parts of northern Nevada. Still lots of cloudy skies, cool conditions. On the right-hand side, dispersion overall in the vicinity of low pressure expected to be fairly good. Looking down the road towards Friday, we see low pressure actually retrograding back westwards, still under its influence, still overall fairly good dispersion in most areas given by the whitish colors. And heading into the weekend, again, that low pressure not moving too much, conditions not changing overall too much as well. Finally, by Sunday, that low weakens and is ejected very quickly up northwards through the northern Rockies and into the upper plain states. You can see on the left-hand side that we see more of that reddish to purplish color starting to move into Nevada. That's where dispersion will be decreasing. Still overall fairly good dispersion across parts of Utah and starting to go downhill a bit across parts of southern Idaho. If we look at precipitation during this time period, you'll see that most of that precipitation does shift further to the east. And looking way down the road for our next week's outlook, you can see that on the left we're expecting cooler than normal temperatures, significantly cooler across the Great Basin. However, precipitation fairly dry or below normal across a good portion of the area, so it doesn't mean we won't see any precipitation, but we'll probably be affected more by a colder, drier, low-pressure trough, maybe some scattered light precipitation, because remember, this is relative to normal, and normally, as we get into the end of November, early December, it's usually a very wet time period, so maybe at least one light storm system pushing on through, but overall remaining cooler than normal for next week. And that concludes our briefing. If you have any questions or any comments or suggestions on this new product, please feel free to contact us at my current email address listed here on the screen. Thank you very much and have a great holiday. Our next briefing will be coming up this upcoming Wednesday. Have a great day.